Djeran is that time of the year when it's really hot. You got those hot easterly winds coming still from Binjareb, and people are usually around a waterway somewhere to catch fish, or in the background behind me it's the estuary area, so people came here to catch crabs and prawns and different fish, and people would set up fish traps. So these days we might not see evidence of a fish trap because they're the sort of wooden stuff that gets wasted away over time. So it's the oral history that tells us there were fish traps around the place. And the estuary here, we call it Djeran, and Djeran is a name for one of the 6 seasons. It's a name also for brim, and it's the actual name for this waterway behind me. So in Djeran and the estuary, or Djeran, it's such an important place where people came to. So when you look at the time of the year, you look at the weather conditions, yes, it was hot, but it was also moving into that time when people reading the land, people reading the weather, people looking at the plants and animals. This was a time of change as well. So besides the hot weather, also came the afternoons of the cooler breezes setting in, and the activities that people, or our ancestors, would have done would have been to do with, and there's someone singing out as well up there, that old yundadu, 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 he's looking for fish. I'll just give him a little time as well, that yundadu. So he got his nest around here, and his shadow flying, I can see his shadow flying, he's checking me out while I talk about this. I hope he thinks kindly of me as I talk about the Djeran information. So with a yundadu, like the fisherman, he was joining our mob, and the Osprey I'm talking about. And so all our mob shared the waterways with the dolphins, the quillina, with the yundadu, with the bulladalang, the pelican, all those other animals that also caught fish to eat as well. And going into this time of the year, the other thing that people would have been thinking about was making a winter shelter. So, as families and the governance, through the eldership of doing that sort of thing, getting ready for the next season in the cooler time in Muckaroo, people started to then think about going up the hill, or for those who stayed here, they started thinking about the winter shelter, because that was that time, you have that cultural knowledge. And the winter shelter consisted of the paper bark on top, instead of just all the brushes on top. In summer, or Binjareb and Bunuroo, you could get away with that. But this time of change now, needed to think about those things as well. So yes, certainly hot, but at the same time thinking about the weather, the cooler winds coming in the afternoon, and having a structure that you could build that would keep the rain off, basically. And so people were well organised, and their lifestyle was sustained by that cultural knowledge around that time of the year of Djeran.